Alright, so if you clicked on this link, you wanted to learn more about Tu's Capstone presentation, which is about tarot card reading. So our first question for you, Tu, are you ready?
I'm always ready.
What did you learn about yourself while doing tarot card reading?
Alright, so to start off with the bad traits, I actually learned that I'm pretty indecisive, unsure / unconfident, and unclear. So when I say indecisive, it means when I have a lot to think about, I can never really make up my mind on what I want to say or what I want to go with, because I always go from one point to another point or blend it together endlessly. And so because of that, it makes me feel really unconfident with what I'm saying, which is really bad for the listeners because they're probably going to think I'm some sort of phony spoof, which I'm not an official tarot card reader, but I just don't want to turn out to be like a phony spoof person, you know? And then, it makes me become unclear because, like I said, too many points, too much going on. But some good things I learned about myself along the way throughout tarot card reading is that I am pretty honest and direct with what I'm saying. So even though I am unclear or just not confident and unsure, I will always try to get the big main point out first. So example, I pull out a card. It will be Becoming Your Best Self card that I've done for someone, like a friend of mine. So it will be the love card. That card represents leadership, strength. I can name the big attributes before I start getting in depth. And also learned that I am pretty compassionate as a person. So if there's a card that's going to be saying something bad about the person, about the future, anything, I try to state something which will give them hope, like a hopeful attribute, a hopeful point where they can go towards that way rather than thinking they're doomed forever, because obviously words do affect people a lot one way or another. And so I try to be very careful with what I'm saying to the listener. That's basically it for what I've learned about myself.
Alright, carrying on is the next one. How much practice did you need to do to actually hone your skills as a tarot card reader?
Oh god. So the minute I got my tarot cards, right? I don't remember the specific date, but the minute I got my tarot cards, I started practicing with 3 to 4 people every day. Every day for a week or two, I just went ham. So I started off with my friends on Discord. So I started with Raymond and other people, but I didn't do the past, present, future, those kind of spreads with Raymond, but I did other spreads with Raymond and our friend group about love life and everything. And then I did with my classmates. So in my foods class, Miss Donaldson's class, I started doing with 3 to 4 people about their love life and their future as well. I practiced a lot about that. It was it was interesting because a lot of people were hyped, disappointed, or pretty neutral with how their love life was going from what I was reading. And then I did one with Miss Beetlestone as well. I did her past, present, future, I'm pretty sure. And then Becoming Your Best Self spreads with Miss Beetlestone. I'm pretty sure if she's presenting this to people right now, she probably has a notepad of all her cards that I've read out to her. But just so you know, Miss Beetlestone, just so you remember, if you're gonna Google up the cards, they're probably gonna mean something different depending on what illustration you're looking at. Just so you know, because art matters. But yeah, practicing those questions every day for a week straight with 3 to 4 people until my brain was hurting and my mouth was really dry. It made me memorize a lot more of the cards, because even though when I was reading the cards, I did have to whip out the guidebook to look at the main attributes and the stories to see how I can correlate to the listener. It made me remember bit by bit because I was doing it on the spot out loud. And so that kind of implant like the knowledge into me, into my brain.
So, apart from you practicing tarot card reading, was there anything you liked or disliked about doing it?
Well, I dislike when people ask me like specific time questions. Okay, I can only do so much because I am still inexperienced, but I'm still trying to get it together. But I hate when people are like, "What age will I be rich? When will I get married? Who will I get married with?" I don't know. Okay, I can explain, but I can't do like certain time questions. Those are really hard for me. Okay, a lot of tarot card readers could probably do that, but me, I had to shut those question sounds instantly. But what I did like about it was having other people go, "Wow, that's so true," or like, "Wow, I'm impressed. You really spoke the truth." Like, I like when people are impressed at me being direct or clear about what happened to them or what I'm reading to them. Like, just anything that can relate to them or build connection with them with what I'm reading. It makes me feel like I'm psychic or I'm just powerful. I just feel superior, you know? It just kind of boosts my ego like crazy.
Alright, so for our next question. Next question, and this one being our last one. In total, you tried doing 3 capstone presentations and you succeeded with doing this one, your tarot card one, right?
Yes, sir.
How were your other capstones like? How were they changed and how did you manage to come up with this one?
It was one crazy semester I went through, to be honest. So, to kind of start off with how I got into body piercing and everything, I'm a person that has not a lot of piercings, but a handful of piercings. I have a nose piercing and 3 pairs of piercings on each side of my ear. I was like thinking to myself, if I got all these piercings, why don't I just make a capstone about it? And I can probably demonstrate it on like some fake ear or a real person as a demo. I actually started my body piercing project before I had CLC12. By the way, I highly recommend you to not think of a project or do a project before you have CLC12 because things change a lot, and learning about what the criteria is specifically with Miss Beetlestone helps you way more than trying to leech off your friends, because sometimes your friends are pretty unreliable with information. But yeah, so that's what happened for me, and I learned that my criteria was probably going to be disapproved or was in debate for approval, because I remember going to Miss Beetlestone in like an assembly and be like, "Hey, can I do body piercing?" And she was like, "Well, what will you learn off your capstone if that's the case, if I was doing body piercing?" And I was like, "Nothing." I like it, and I realized that body piercing is just something I like, but it's not something I would be passionate or anything I learn from. I was just wasting my time on something which is not worth it, because the capstone is something you gotta learn from. But then moving on to my next project, which is the Therapeutic Podcast. I like the idea because right now, as you're listening to me, I talk a lot. I am an emotional person. I'm a feeler, you know? I feel things. I like to feel emotions and embrace my emotions. But that, I was thinking like, A, it would be too long, and I feel bad for Miss Beetlestone because she already has like a lot of projects to mark. And B, I don't honestly know what we talk about for a really long time. And C, would it be approved because certain topics might be too sensitive? Oh, and also point D, where would we like post our podcast anyways for some sort of clout or fame for like 2 minutes? And obviously moving on to tarot cards, because I legit went through tarot cards in the middle of my podcast Capstone, because it just came last minute and I had a lot of time to switch to the other project anyway, so it's like, why not? It was just mainly me figuring out like it was not criteria worthy to do. But also it was mainly me realizing that I wouldn't really have learned anything, because if I know I'm a feeling kind of person, then a podcast wouldn't really make me learn or embrace anything. And with the body piercing, I know a handful of that stuff. Plus, I had a few teachers who talked to me about piercing as my project before, and they told me if I know this much, then maybe it's not a good idea. So I was like, no, that's probably right.
Right, and your final thoughts overall?
My final thoughts about, well, first of all, tarot card reading, it's hard, it hurts, but it's interesting because there's a lot of things like scenarios and answers you can see within the card. Even though you only get like a small pinch of attributes with a simple story, the way that you would see like the visual image or the name of the cards within a question is so, it pumps my adrenaline a lot. But yeah, I really like the idea of tarot cards. It really makes me notice that I can use talking communication to put it into something besides just podcast, because I know like talking and communicating can be used for a lot of things, but for me personally, I wouldn't want to use this ability to like be a leader example, or manage anything, or like I can only think of like being a dictator with like having this much power to talk. Yeah, thank you for listening. Thanks for interviewing me, Ray.
Yeah, anytime. And if you'd like to learn more about my capstone, you can check the link in the description, or maybe Miss Beetlestone can pull up the video.
Most likely, if there's time, if she's not gonna pull it.
There's no time. Each video is legit 15 minutes long.
That's true. This one's gonna hit like 30 minutes altogether now, probably. Sorry, Miss Beetlestone.
Sorry, Miss Beetlestone. We're gone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.